What's going on, everybody? It's Avi and Joe back for another drive along video. This one's going to be a fun one because we're going to check out some really cool properties here in Santa Barbara, and we have a kind of a theme for this show. We want to talk about there's a lot of new updates for investors, people buying Airbnbs, people buying rental properties, landlords, and tenants that we thought you might like to know. So if this is your first time watching the channel, I'm Avi. I'm along here with
Joe Parker. What's happening, everyone?
We are the Santa Barbara Group, and we love making videos all about Santa Barbara, the ins and outs. I just saw, I think across Zillow, we passed 100 5-star reviews. We have 130 or so on Google, and if you're watching this and you wrote us a Google review, we so appreciate you. But we're a small real estate team in Santa Barbara, and we pride ourselves on delivering 5-star service. We love this community, and we love serving. And thanks so much for tuning into the channel. We have people that tune in from across the pond, from all different states, and we love showing off beautiful Santa Barbara, and what a great day to do it.
Yeah, it is such a picturesque town, and driving you through is really a dream come true for us to share what's going on around here and just, give you guys a little inside scoop, some local knowledge about this community. And some of the things that's been going on is really impacting investors who have rental property here, especially in the city of Santa Barbara. Recently, there has been a rent freeze put in place as the city grapples with rent control. That it seems like there is a push amongst some groups and some politicians here locally that rent control will be a good thing for the community. So I think that is coming, and one of the things they did was put a rent freeze while they figure it out, because they were a little bit concerned that landlords thinking that rent control was coming, that they would start jacking the rents. So they wanted to freeze them while they figure it out, and then they'll unveil what the rent control looks like. So interesting times.
Did this freeze include all single family properties as well, or is it the 4-unit plus, or is it?
That is a really good question.
I'll have to dive into that.
I think it is across the board on rental properties in Santa Barbara, but really good question.
And I wonder how they're going to enforce that. I wonder how, like, if someone, let's say, was coming up on their 2-year period with tenants and they were planning on raising the rent, if they just keep, even if they've communicated that with the tenants, if that is now frozen, or like,
I think so.
Wow. Yeah.
I think if it's not contractually in place, you can't do anything else. And then there's going to be rent increases happening because either both parties don't know, or the tenant doesn't know that their rent can't be increased.
Totally.
So that's probably still going to happen. But, for the ones that are in the know and have the information, they could always, remind their landlord if they're in the city, because there's plenty of areas, like we've already left the city of Santa Barbara, but we're still in Santa Barbara, right?
Totally.
As we know it. So the city outline, if you look on a map, it's really bizarre the way that they mapped out what the city boundaries are for Santa Barbara. But that's what we're talking about here, is in the city.
The freeze doesn't apply to Goleta, doesn't apply to Montecito, doesn't apply to Carp.
No.
So it's just Santa Barbara proper itself.
Well, and we've all had different, in all those communities Avi just listed off, that have their different governance bodies. There's been various types of quote unquote rent control in place, like minimums of what you could increase your rent to. There's also restrictions on evictions and offering your tenants a renewal of a 1-year lease unless a couple of things are happening, like you're planning to move into it, you're planning to sell it, or you're planning to renovate it. Totally. So there's all these things that are still, but it just seems to be gearing up even more towards trying to stabilize rents, which is interesting because from what I've been tracking, rents have been coming down right now.
Totally.
So we're in a market of decreasing rent values, and they just put a freeze on them. So that's interesting.
And I think one thing that people sometimes don't understand is that, does a rent control, rent freeze mean cheaper rent for everyone? I think that there's a lot of downsides with it too that people don't realize, where the landlords oftentimes are way less incentivized to respond to tenants, to take good care of their tenants, to upkeep their property, or they might even just, sell it or offload it, and there might be less potential units for sale. The market oftentimes really tightens up. I've just heard from friends in San Francisco and LA and parts of areas where there's actually a lot of just people just on the tenant side thinks rent control could always be a good thing, but there's a lot of downsides and a lot of actual potential pitfalls for the tenants themselves. Not just obviously the landlords aren't going to make as much money, but there's a lot of factors to go into play when it comes to rent control.
Yeah, and a lot of the smaller investors, the mom and pop landlords that maybe just have one rental property, they could really be in a bind because they're seeing the cost of owning their property going up as insurance rates go up and the cost of maintaining a property goes up. So that could be stressful for them to realize that, hey, those costs are going to go up, but they can't change the rent to accommodate for that. And what Avi was saying is that a lot of them then decide to sell, and you could get a flood of inventory. A flood of inventory could be pressure on pricing. There's a lot of different things that could play out, but we will see what's going on as we pull up to this first one.
First house behind a kind of cool, windy road and private gates. Let's see. We're going to touch back on rent control, but before we do, we're going to take you through a little property tour. On my last video, people were like, you guys were talking too long before the first property, so we wanted to get you this property quick. We are at 1051 Via Chaparel, privately gated property up here a little bit north, or I guess we're technically south of the 154.
Yeah, just on the edge. Like there's this bridge to nowhere, we call it at the locals here. Great hiking trail up there. But yeah, this is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,079 square feet. 1.1 acres. Really nice Spanish. This is pretty signature Santa Barbara. It looks like they've done an incredible job with the landscaping and hardscaping. And this is kind of more in a foothill area, so you probably have higher insurance rates or less options for insurance. But just looking around right now, they've done some incredible work on drought tolerant landscaping, it looks like, and keeping landscaping away from the house, so that will help with premiums and rates. But this one's offered at $4,595,000.
Let's check it out.
Yep.
We are here, 1051 Via Chaparel. Lots of people coming through. Let's try to stay out of the way of everybody. Classic Santa Barbara style, red tile roof. Lots of parking, nice view of the foothills. Looks nice and clean. Love that old tile roof. Look at that awesome Spanish archway. Looks like a great blend of historic and modern. Walk in. Cool little wine cellar. What do we got in here? Oh, laundry room. Hookups are right there. Awesome kind of classic red tile roof. That's going to be access to the garage. Nice job on the staging. Looks really clean. I love the high vaulted ceilings, recessed lighting. Cute little access to the patio. First bathroom here for these 2 rooms to share. Look at the views out the bedroom. Nice vibes to all your outdoor living space. Look at the high ceilings, big beams. Wow. Awesome, great room. Love the exposed beam ceilings. Ooh, they got the hot tub out there, I think. Let's see. Really nice outside space. Fountain, super quiet. Big fireplace. Looks like a wood burning fireplace. Little office space here. Oh, that's not a hot tub. That's just another fountain. And oh, look at the views from this side. You guys are gonna love this. Boom. Epic outdoor patio space. Sweet views. Man, I'm gonna take my time filming this scene. So nice. And I think the primary is off of this office. Kept the primary for last. Wonder if there's, I think this is the primary. There might be another bedroom on the other side of the house. But yeah, they really captured the views well. Big walk-in closet. This house has just been so well kept, you can tell. Nice size, big master bathroom. Ooh, got the bronze sinks, the kind of off-colored stone. Toilet separate. That's a proper size shower. And then once again, vaulted ceilings, exposed beams, all the things that people love. I believe it's air conditioned and heat.
Yesterday was maybe one of the best days I've had in a long time. I paddled in the morning, so we did the Miramar paddle. Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap and I lay down with my buddy. Let's go surf the ranch.
Kitchen, living room, more ocean views. Really nice position house. Now let's walk out here and take a look from the backside. I always like to do this shot so you can kind of see what it looks like from the outside angle if you want to look back. So much privacy, you can barely see the neighbors. Here's the backside of the house. What do you guys think? For $4.5 million and a little change, would you live at this property? So cool. That house is pretty cool. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, that was classic Santa Barbara. Great views today, especially. It's super clear and the channel's really calm. I love the outdoor living space of that yard, and they really committed to the fountain. I mean, that fountain was like, could have been a jacuzzi, yeah. But I mean, it's probably as expensive as a jacuzzi, but it's just a fountain. So I don't know. I might have gone with jacuzzi.
I agree, and it's because a lot of times people go big with fountains if you have some road noise, but I think got no road noise here.
No, but peaceful. I mean, it adds to an incredible setting.
Look at that house. That deck looks a little sketchy.
Yeah, gonna need some maintenance.
Yeah.
But yeah, beautiful. I think it checks a lot of boxes for people. There was no guest unit, huh?
No. They had like a little storage or second, what was that, like a little barn, or not a shed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice primary suite too.
Yeah.
You know, I think some of the finishes a bit timeless, but also felt like the real trending stuff maybe 15, 20 years ago, almost.
They probably went huge 15, 20 years ago. They had the bronze sinks and those kind of dark countertops and and the bathrooms.
Yeah, but nice little spot up here. And since we're up here, you do get some great hiking right out your front door if you want to do some urban hiking.
Just look at how green everything is. It's just popping green. I can't remember the last time I've seen Santa Barbara like this green. The grass is just exploding from all the moisture we've had. We said, I think this on Joe's last video, but we've had Santa Barbara's annual moisture totals just from the back half of December and early part of January.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we are full of rain. Lake Kachuma's full. The creeks are full. It's a great time to hike. In fact, we got to go on a cold plunge.
Should we do that next week?
Yeah.
I think that's the move next week.
We should definitely.
We told our subscribers on Joe's channel, make sure to check out Joe, the most subscribed real estate agent in the Santa Barbara Central Coast area, is on his way to 10K. We said in the video, if we got 500 likes, we would jump in the water for a cold plunge. And so we hit that. We have to think of some more fun challenges to do.
I wonder what it's at. What do you think the temperature is of the creeks?
I bet it's 50s. It's not going to be terrible, but it's going to be crispy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we really appreciate you guys liking and subscribing and commenting. It really helps our channel grow and continue to reach more great people like yourself. And I wanted to finish off that last segment on rent control. We were talking about what it's going to potentially do to the landlords, to the tenants. Do you have any predictions on what it could mean this year, Joe, in terms of rental prices, in terms of, is it going to mean maybe more people sell their house and don't want to be landlords anymore?
I think the multifamily products will have a little more trouble finding a buyer. There could be a little bit of hesitancy there, but all in all, I think while they figure it out, there's going to be a lot of noise, but maybe not a ton of immediate noticeable impact. Other than probably a little slight, and I feel like we've already had this just because of the nature of this has been forecasted, that stuff and it's been going on for a while with some of the other things we've mentioned that favor tenants. A lot of landlords have for a couple years now been kind of hedging towards getting out, and so that trend has already taken place. So I think what we'll see is just more of the same. where that trend continues to trickle. And then once we know exactly what it looks like, it may have a bigger impact. But it's such a small market here that I think that it will just slowly absorb, and we may see some stagnancy or maybe even a little bit of decline in value on some of these multifamilies.
Yeah, I think that's going to for sure happen. And I also could see some people that either, I have clients, for example, that have they bought a bigger house and they kept their condo, or they're kind of like a landlord, not by, it's not their main job, it's kind of just their side thing. They have a second property that they rent out, and I could definitely see some of them considering, okay, if I'm not going to be able to raise rent, if I'm going to have all these restrictions, maybe I'm better off 1031ing that into some type of fund, or just moving that money into something else that can be more freely utilized. And we're even next week on our podcast, we're going to have on a specialist that's going to talk all about 1031ing into real estate investment trusts, where you're hands off and you just get to potentially reap the benefits of the appreciation and the cash flow without having to be a hands-on property manager, having to work with tenants and this and that. So
yeah, that's going to be great. I mean, and what you're saying there could impact the market. Like if we get this thought process with a bunch of sellers, that could be a bunch of inventory coming on, because they've got to get those sold in order to take advantage of the 1031 exchange. And so if we get a bunch of investment property owners selling their property, maybe that increases inventory, which we could use, and that could have a downturn on pricing. But when we get back in the car, I want to tell you more about the 1031 exchange person we're going to have on the podcast, and some of the products they offer, and how that could help some of these people we're talking about. All right, so getting back to that topic of 1031 exchanges, the environment for landlords, rent costs, rent control, all these things, if they decide to sell and they want to exchange, then you could just do the traditional, where you just go buy another property and use an exchange company, or you could exchange into like a fund. And one guy we're going to have on, Trevor Floor of Aim Point Financial, they're a financial group that specializes in helping people accommodate their 1031 exchange. So they have these books of businesses with different real estate assets that qualify, that you could exchange into, and they will pay regular annual dividends. They will, at a certain point, sell and cash out to everybody. And in which case, if you want to end your 1031 exchange, deferring your tax and take the income, you can, or they could put it right back into another investment. And it really saves the investor all the headaches of being a landlord, shopping for the property that you got to buy to accommodate your exchange. It makes it real seamless and easy. It's like sell an investment property that you're working on a regular basis, maybe with tenants or whatever, into something that's hands off, no problem. It might not be as liquid as other things, but nonetheless still a really great solution for someone trying to complete a 1031 exchange. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to know more, feel free to reach out and check out the podcast we'll be putting out later this month.
That'll be on YouTube, on Spotify, on podcasting platforms. And yeah, I'm really excited to learn from him, because I think there's a lot of people who, let's say they had a home that they kept in the family, or that they've been a landlord for a little while, but they're older and they just want to be able to enjoy, traveling and doing fun things. They don't want to have to be on call for their tenants. This could be a great option for them. And I think a lot of people don't even know that exists. So
yeah.
Excited to chat with him and chop that up.
Yeah.
One thing I want to touch on too is the Airbnb talks in town. There's a potential for Santa Barbara back, I believe it was in 2016, they banned all Airbnbs. Then there was a lawsuit, and they were allowed to have Airbnbs in the downtown, high density, coastal, and the coastal zone areas, which is Oceanside of the Mesa and a little pocket there. And right now we're kind of hearing rumors that the city wants to now ban the coastal zone, and only keep it to maybe like a small downtown corridor. And I wanted to see what you think about that, or what effects on the market that could have.
Yeah, I think like what we've been talking about there, let's take the Mesa, for example. Over the last 4 or 5 years, since they've had the privilege of being in the coastal zone below Cliff Drive, that's been kind of a billboard for investors. You can short-term rent if you buy an investment property in this section of the Mesa, which has done great things for the values on the Mesa for property owners. It has really boosted values, and it could be that the income will drop significantly, or at least noticeably, for some of these investors if they can no longer short-term rent it, and they'll have to take a deep look at their situation, and will long-term renting still make sense, or will they need to sell it? And so then that's where we get that variable. If a bunch of them decide they need to sell, then we could see a little bit of relief on that price increase pressure that has been around the Mesa for a long time now. So that is definitely something to consider.
Yep. And I think that even since interest rates have gone up so much, I used to, I've helped a handful of people buy Airbnbs, but with interest rates where they're at, there's not that many Airbnbs that make quite as much financial sense. You're oftentimes not able to break even or cash flow. But I do still think that, in certain pockets of downtown and certain pockets of East Beach and other areas, I think the Airbnb market is still potentially more alive and well than I've seen in the Mesa. I just haven't had many people reach out in recent times for Airbnb. And basically 2021, 2022, 2023, I had a lot of people asking about that before rates went crazy.
Yeah.
So I wonder too, it's just, I don't know, it seems like they've already tried to ban it and there's been lawsuits. I wonder if there would be another, big lawsuit if they banned it again with, maybe with Airbnb or with the coastal zone. You think this would be like a for real ban?
Yeah, because the first time the city did the ban, the Coastal Commission said, no, you can't restrict affordable access to the coast. And their argument was these homes that are for rent provide affordable access to the coast for people that vacation in Santa Barbara. So they won that argument. But what's happening now is that the city and the Coastal Commission, who were fighting in court, are now at the table coming up with an agreement, because the city is providing the Coastal Commission evidence of how life on the Mesa for the residents, at least for some of them, who have had bad experiences living next door to an Airbnb, they've raised enough noise to where the city is actively taking their cries to the Coastal Commission and saying, hey, okay, you're benefiting these people coming to visit, but what about the people who actually live here that are suffering? So they're compromising to come up with, and maybe there'll be little pockets of the Mesa that get left in. Yep. Who knows? Maybe the Mesa will be entirely carved out, but there will be some compromise, and then we will get kind of more of, an official map of areas along the coast that can be targeted. And then, maybe the values shift. That investment value can maybe shift over to those areas. It could bring up pricing for Airbnbs that do exist if there's less competition for the Airbnb. So that Airbnb pricing could start to rise.
Very true. And I think one thing too that people forget, one of the big benefits for Airbnbs in Santa Barbara is the TOT tax, the short-term occupancy tax. That does probably provide, I don't know the exact numbers of how much money it provides for the city, but I mean, it does provide a lot. So if that's to get cut out, that is another potential harmful aspect of banning Airbnbs. But it's certain that a lot of neighbors, especially people that have been in the neighborhood for a long time, have watched the neighborhood go from everybody raising their families there to a lot of more investors. And I can understand their perspective where they don't want to have a neighborhood full of investors. But yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Busy
street. We're right off of Las Positas. A lot of people are checking out the open houses today. I feel like there's definitely some energy back in the market again. Our recent listing on the Mesa got 3 offers, so that definitely says something.
Yeah, absolutely. And a property we were trying to sell for about a month and a half at the end of last year, as soon as the year turned, like the open houses tripled with activity because there was only a few people coming in, and then all of a sudden we have an offer, and now it's in escrow. So definitely the market has picked up. I think it went dormant for the back half of last year, or back quarter, definitely the last couple months.
Yep.
And is now picking up once again.
Yeah, and you were mentioning the builder's remedy
bill that passed.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear more about that. That's something that I need to be educated more about.
Well, this is a state law that is pushing more housing stock units to be built. And so the builder's remedy, it's like a remedy for builders who are complaining that it's too hard to navigate the approval process to build. It's too long, costs too much money. So the state says, okay, well, if you do X, Y, and Z and your property has these features, then you could avoid all the approval process and just be automatically approved and start building. So not great for aesthetic communities like Santa Barbara. It's kind of a not in my backyard community where, you know, we want more housing, but not like a ton here. And so the rubber's meeting the road, and it's actually, for the last year and a half, they've been going through approval processes using the new law to say, hey, we're raising our hand, we want to build density here on this property using the new law. And so that is now at a phase to where we're seeing ground being broken across town. I just drove by Castillo and Carrillo on the corner there, a commuter lot that's under construction. That's going to be coming in.
That's going to be high density on Castillo and Carrillo.
Yep.
Wow.
Over by our office.
Yep.
There's some office buildings that were torn down. They're doing some affordable housing there, some density. So we're at the phase now where the actual changes to the community are happening. The construction's starting to happen. And there's some really high profile cases that are going down the approval process that haven't been approved yet, but have gotten a lot of attention, like the one behind the Mission. That same group out of Orange County who wants to build 2 7-story towers of housing behind the Santa Barbara Mission, they also want to try and build like a 38-story tower in Carpinteria along the side of the freeway.
38 stories?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I mean, the builder's remedy is really broad. Like it allows you to go nuts. And so some of these investor developers who've got no stake in the community at all, they just want to make money and use these laws, are pushing some ridiculous projects that are making people, locals, just heads spin. You know, can you imagine 2 7-story towers behind the Mission?
Yeah, and 38
It's crazy.
stories.
38 story as you coming into Carpinteria.
Wow.
It's just bonkers. And so, yeah, the law is definitely trying to fix a housing shortage. And so, but it is a little heavy-handed, especially for like specialized communities like this. But hey, we can't say not in our backyard forever. So maybe we will have towers behind the Mission.
Totally.
Just have to live with it.
I mean, if we want service people, if we want young professionals to be able to move here and afford to live here and raise a family here, like something has to, you know, give at some point where we have to have a little bit more density. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a very interesting, I know there's huge, you know, at least online protests and probably even in-person protests if they start to try to build behind the Mission. There's a lot of people that are going to be very up in arms at that. But
yeah, a lot of battling going on. So yeah, well, that will be more inventory. So what kind of impact could that have on the market? Well, that could maybe also help keep rents stabilized, right? If you have more units, you got more people being housed, less scrambling for units. So landlords will have to get a little sharper with their price to attract someone. So maybe prices will come down or just stay stable and not keep climbing out of reach for people.
Lots to keep you guys up to date. And the great thing is we make videos every week on my channel, on Joe's channel. Let us know in the comments if we should start trying to crank out twice a week. I know that there's a lot of people that maybe want even more content, especially Joe's loyal fans, but I would like to try to get to maybe pushing out something twice a week, or maybe bi-weekly. We give every 2 weeks, we put 2 out a week and then 1 a week. But there's just a lot of great content, a lot of stuff to be covered. And we're about to go check out this really cool property that's co-listed by our other teammate, Garrett. We're gonna have to get Garrett in the car for a drive along one of these days too.
Yeah.
And this property just did a $500,000 price reduction.
Just came under $3 million. It's at 3520 La Entrada. This is a secret little spot of Hidden Valley that most people never go to. Don't even know it exists. But we're in the heart of Santa Barbara. You can see Campanile Hill over there. The beach is not too far away. And this 4-bedroom, 3-bath is considered Rancho Guacamole because it has a ton of avocado trees. And there's actually a guest unit as well over the garage. So you have already a built-in
second
rental
studio,
unit
yeah.
or something. So we've got what did I say, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,300 square feet, offered at $2,950,000, and some views of I think the city.
And this property's been in the family for 50 plus years. And I also knew that there was someone living in above that garage who had like a 10-year lease in place, and they paid her 6 figures to exit the lease early.
Oh my gosh.
Good payout for that person.
That's another thing we didn't hit on with tenants, but yeah, to get them out can be very
They
expensive.
had a very unique lease situation. So let's check this one out. I'm going to give you guys the full tour. We'll see what we think and see how it compares to the other one. See ya. Welcome to Rancho Guacamole. This really feels like you're in a whole nother part of town. Look at that awesome oak tree. Look at these oak trees, Joe. These are like 200 years old. Really cool, old school farm style property. Long driveway. That's the guest house. We're gonna see that next.
You're $17,000
What happened?
a month. Your mortgage.
That's Garrett locked in over there. So definitely some original features on this one. Definitely some work to be done.
No, just not me.
Hobby production today.
Sounds good.
What are we doing?
Make yourself at home.
Is your lunch served?
Not today. You missed it. That was last week. Yeah. Tacos. Yeah, exactly.
Nice high beam ceilings. Lots of very original features. So this one's obviously gonna have to be a big project for somebody. It looks like it has great bones. I know it needs a new roof and a good bit of tenting and pest work. But man, what a cool property. Look at this backyard space. Oh my gosh, they have turtles and koi. What? I wonder who keeps the koi. What? This is so cool. Who would have thought on a property this dated, that looks like it's been in the family for 50 plus years, it would still have the koi swimming around, and they are freaking big koi. Whoa. Let us know in the comments if you love koi fish. Those guys, I think, are pretty expensive. You got the Santa Maria style barbecue out here.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, they have, there is a road agreement, and then it's all just all them deciding when they're gonna do it.
Yeah. So that's La Senda there, right? So this
La Senda's up there.
I know. So what?
This
what
is the
goes
second
up
kind
that
of
way?
seating
Those-
room
those are
area.
private homes.
So
Very deal is
that
so right there.
ends there.
Yeah, dead ends. Yeah, so you'll run into
Cute
your
little
own
half
house, some
bath.
one other room.
Look at this fireplace.
Great.
It's a cool place.
I know.
Great spot to have like holidays. Oh, that.
Got some cool old school art back here. That looks like old like farm equipment turned into art. Let me know if you know what that is. I mean, man, look at the mountain views. Definitely can tell it needs a new roof. Love the garden area though. So much room for parking. And so this is the area where the tenant had a 10-year lease at like $1,000 a month. Crazy. Wow. Wonder what we're standing, what's down there. I don't know what that is. This is a little 2-bedroom cottage above the garage. This would be a fun little spot to live though. If once you dial it in and update it, have a little bedroom and a little office. I like it. I think the $500,000 price reduction is really going to help. I'm going to be here holding an open house actually on Sunday from 1 to 3, and I'll definitely be interested to see how many people come. Look at those avocado tree, avocado tree, avocado tree, and look at those mountain views. Let's get the nice deck wraparound view. The house has a bunch of big solar windows, solar tubes that are kind of extended, solar pane. So you get a lot of natural light into it. My guess is if you really wanted to trick this whole place out, if you put about $1 million into it, you could obviously do it for less, but you could really dial everything in, landscaping, pave this way, you know, reconfigure the main house. Obviously you gotta do roof and pest, all the finishes. You could probably do it for less, but if you wanted to go huge, $1 million on this place would make it look insane. Let us know in the comments what you think. Let us know if you would pay right under $3 million to live here. Bye, Garrett.
Bye.
You're coming on the YouTube video soon.
Yes.
Our subscribers want you to talk to them. Great neighborhood. Really cute how there's no through traffic. Back to the list. What'd you think about that one, Joe?
I liked it. Thought it was really cool. The views out the back were interesting, and it's just a real special little setting right there.
Yeah.
I think being in town but feeling like you're in country.
Totally. A little project for someone. Not a little project, it'd be a big project, but man, it would be really awesome when it's done to build kind of cool, classic, modern farmhouse style feel with a house that's, you know, has original steel, like cooked over iron, like what is that called? An iron wood burning stove.
Yeah.
But then you can kind of modernize things and make it nice, have all that space, have a really nice guest suite for your in-laws or your friends who want to come visit. I like that house. It'll be interesting to see how my open house goes there on Sunday with the new price and see if we get a lot of activity, if it's super busy or what.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think that the price will get some more people looking, and it's going to show up on the radar. When you
Yeah.
get under those round numbers, sometimes you could open up a whole new pool of buyers that maybe had their search set up to 3 million, you know, and so anything over 3 is not showing up, and now he just went under 3, so
Yep.
pretty nice.
And wrapping up, obviously we've touched a lot about the new potential rules, laws, aspects coming up for landlords and tenants. We showed you guys 2 really awesome properties. And yeah, is there anything else we missed or anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up this video, Joe?
I can't think of it. I think it's a nice little experience of Santa Barbara, the real estate, and a nice little deep dive on where the potential investment market here could be going.
Mm-hmm. If you have questions about investing in Santa Barbara, we're here to help. All of our contact, our number is here. And we love chatting with you guys, even just answering questions. You know, even people who reach out just looking for a rental house. I have a video on my channel about the tips and tricks and little hidden gems on how to use other sources to find rentals and where they're posted online. We love just chatting with you guys in the community, whether you're watching from Dubai or Finland and just want to throw us a like and say hi and where you're from, or if you have a specific house that you want to go see, we're here, we're full service. We love making these videos, and be on the lookout. Joe's videos drop every Saturday.
Yep, Saturday morning, driving tours on there and a bunch of other stuff. Best neighborhoods in Santa Barbara, deep dives into those best neighborhoods. So you've got lots of options to learn more about Santa Barbara if you're intrigued.
Yeah, we love helping you guys out. Thanks so much for liking and subscribing. As always, we will see you on a bunch more videos in 2026. This is the year of our YouTube channels going crazy as we continue to upload more videos, new themes. Let us know what you guys want to see. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, buddy.
Peace.
Peace.